Mick Jagger once said, "Start it up." It was either 94 or 95 when the Huskers incorporated that as their kickoff song.
Starting up. That one?
Yep.
Never stop.
And it was Chris Brown was the kicker at the time.
Okay, yeah. What a legacy of kickers, the Brown family.
Yes. Because then you had the one with the Giants who got in a little bit of trouble.
That wasn't Chris. Oh, that was which
and not Drew.
Drew was the young one.
Right.
He was the nephew.
It was.
What are we talking about?
Nebraska's kickers.
The Nebraska kicker / punter that went to the Giants and may have had a little bit of trouble regarding
Chris and Drew.
His wife. Andrew Brown.
Chris Brown is the co-owner and chief executive officer of a Dunkin' Donuts franchisee in Kansas City and Omaha. How about that?
All right.
Oh, by the way, I'm not on the stream. Elijah Hervel in for hour 1 here today before we get rock and rolling again with Big Ten Media Days.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Brown.
Yep. Yeah.
Good. I can rest easy now. Did you need your headset plugged in there, bud?
Oh yeah, sure.
We don't need to hear YZ anyway.
Would you call him
YZ?
What?
Everyone needs a radio name.
What's up?
Oh, I thought maybe that those were when they on the 1s and 2s. If that's on the board, if that is actual Y and Z button.
No, we call him YZ because we can't pronounce his last name.
Why are they called 1s and 2s?
YZ is a lifelong nickname I've had. So
you kids that are going through the program more recently, why are they called 1s and 2s?
Beyond me.
We got Caleb in there on the 1s and 2s.
That's an old radio tune that he probably has never even heard.
On the 1s and 2s?
Yeah.
Yeah, beyond me.
I asked that. I don't know. You just say on the board.
Yeah. We did one day go and find why it was called the 1s and 2s.
Did we?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the answer though.
It had to do with an old turntable.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, we're going in about 5 seconds.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. I had to do my best Bill Hooks impression here on a Wednesday. Blast Fuse ears out.
Was that Bill Hooks or was that Robin Williams?
I don't know. It's not. He brings the energy. He's got that good morning, Lincoln.
He does bring energy. And you know when Bill asks, hey, can we cover? He's got some. I think it's his anniversary trip.
Yeah.
So congratulations to him. The talking the sports part is easy. It's the fill in the shoes of the energy that he brings to this. It's that you got to, make sure you take some like New Vigil or whatever, drink one of those triple cappuccino, and I am Cornholio and get all wound up things.
And with Big Ten Media Days yesterday and today, energy, I am hammering coffee. But Hooksy was nice enough to bring YZ and I a white monster yesterday for each of us.
Now, which one do you call YZ in here? Okay. All right, Kit. We have Chase in here too. Was his nickname?
Chase.
Chase is Chase, but Caleb is YZ.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a packed house today.
Well, I mean, so you haven't got a nickname yet?
No,
That's early. It's early.
We could think of one live on
We
the
could.
air. There's more important things to
Well,
talk
hey,
about, though.
welcome in.
And as with Robin Williams, we could. It was his birthday. 2 days ago? Would have been 70 something.
Would have.
Yeah, would have been. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
But I will say, with the weather today in Lincoln, it does kind of feel like Vietnam outside. 97 degrees and humid.
Yeah, heat advisory.
Yeah.
I think probably have stage 2 swamp butt by about noon. It's not going to be good.
Oh, dude.
So I'll be stopping by, get the I don't know if Costco sells the 55-gallon drum of talc powder, but may have to get that.
It's warm in the studio here today, too, which is nice because it is freezing cold over in the big main KFOR studio. So here in the little side room.
And it always used to be opposite. Up until a couple of years ago, you'd we had the KFRX studio over here to my left, where it would be tepid, and you would come in here in the dead of summer, and it would be 50 degrees. And I knew to bring a sweatshirt if I was working in here. But enough about our climate.
Well, I brought a jacket I'm in a side studio over on every single room in this building is a different subclimate.
Yes.
Every single room in here is completely different. I'm not sure why that is.
You can travel to all the different continents and get the different weather. So if we went down to maybe like to Joy's office downstairs, it might be snowing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Carol's still here, but she brings a space heater in every single day. And I commandeer. I was wearing a jacket yesterday over in that side studio. I looked very nice, by the way, for Big Ten Media Days. Had to dress to the nines. But I had that space heater running on high all day long. It was like emanating heat, the top of that space heater. So thank you, Carol. If you were over there.
You were dressed up for Big Ten Media Days?
A little bit.
But you didn't go.
No, but
just dressed up here.
People still see me on camera.
Like it's a holiday. Okay, they do.
He was there in spirit.
He's there.
I mean, we had Raiola on yesterday on the show. We had Matt Rule on the show yesterday.
A lot of good sound bites.
Thank you. We also had BTN's Rick Pizzo on the show. And when you have an acclaimed broadcaster such as that, you don't want to be wearing sweatpants into the studio. So, it was a fun, long day with Big Ten Media Days. But I had the collared shirt on. I was giving a little bit of love to the umpiring association. Was wearing the umpiring quarter zip jacket over the top of that. So,
of course you were.
Yeah, it's a big time, right? We got area tournaments and
we do. And before I forget, congratulations to some Lincoln teams that will be going on.
Carpetland took down Pinnacle Bank last night.
And what I found out, and you would think I would know this, having a son that is in high school baseball at a local high school here, that state tournament is now 16 teams for. State tournament was 8 teams when I played. Of course, that was back, in the steam engine covered wagon days. But both Pinnacle Bank, which is Southwest, and Lincoln East Carpetland make it. And then also a shout out to North Star, which is Anderson Ford. They won the Area 6 tournament as well. Went to an IF game, so they won. So congratulations to those 3 Lincoln teams.
I was out umpiring Sunday night for the Judds and the Carpetland teams on Sunday night. And that Carpetland team, we know what East is.
Right.
But man, is that team fantastic. They went yard to lead off the game, bottom half of the first inning. I think it was the second pitch that they saw. They took it to left, and I went, oh, yeah, Carpetland's going to do some Carpetland things. That team is fantastic.
Aren't they playing without like 3 D1 recruits right now too?
Oh, yeah.
They make no mistake, they're not lacking talent.
Yeah. No.
Because that Judge Brothers team the day before ended our season.
Yeah.
So, but I know you guys didn't all tune in today to hear about Legion baseball, as fun as it is. We had something big happen yesterday.
The Colorado Rockies won a baseball game.
Well,
did they end up winning that game?
Let me look at my sheet. I had that on there, but I don't know that it was up at the top.
I didn't actually check the final score, but I saw that they were up in the late innings. I had told Schmidt yesterday while he's out in Vegas, hey, bet on the Rockies tonight because you'll get yourself some more money for betting. And he didn't believe me.
They did win 8-4.
Ha ha! I am now 3-0 this year calling a Rockies victory. Fun fact, which is incredible when they've only won 23 games.
Yeah, well, maybe they need you to bet a little bit more. But
I don't actually lay down any heat. I just hop on the air and say, I feel good about the Rockies tonight.
And well, then that's bold because you're not out any money.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't put my money where my mouth is.
It's a win-win for Elijah.
I've been in radio long enough to know I'm an idiot and I should not put my money where my mouth is.
And we keep calling him back to do the show every day, too. It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
it's for my bubbly personality.
It is. He's got one of those faces for radio, too. Elijah's good. We all good looking cats in here. Guys, let's kick this show off.
Thank you. Thank you for the compliment.
We had Nebraska make their appearance. Big Ten Media Days. Was not at Lucas Field this year out in Indianapolis. We did it out in Vegas.
Mandalay Bay.
Out in Vegas. So you're probably not going to get any sympathy about the weather from the folks out there because I'm sure it was just shy of chilly out there. I think he was the third coach to speak. Third or fourth coach after Rutgers, and then
we had Rutgers, Illinois, and Indiana.
And then Indiana, and
he was fifth coach. I'm missing one in there. There's one that didn't matter.
I didn't think the first 3 mattered, but that's just me.
Well, Signetti and Beelum mattered.
Well, listening to Signetti, that just what I was put off, and we have our little Husker Army admin chat, and I think a lot of us were too, but we won't focus on what he said. We'll focus more on what we heard from Matt Rule. Obviously, a lot of people are interested to hear from Dylan Raiola. I think over the past, it's, you kind of earn your stripes, and a lot of seniors go to this event as team captains. I think that says a lot about the leadership of Dylan Raiola being selected by Coach Rule. Just going to be a sophomore to go out there, be able to present himself, probably not stumble over anything he says and stuff. And we've got some clips we'll get to. You guys, but before we get into some of those clips, what were some of the takeaways or some of the big talking points that you took away from yesterday's press conference?
Well, the main thing that I kind of took away from the day was not any one thing that was said by any Husker player or coach. There's just a general vibe you can feel within this team that feels different than in years past.
A confidence.
A very, very quiet confidence. And it's not anything that's said. It's not anything you have to read in between the lines with it. But we've gone out, and Schmitty's been doing Big Ten Media Days for years. I've been lucky enough to be able to talk to some great athletes and some great coaches through the years. And those teams that end up near the top of the conference tend to have this feel when they're at Big Ten Media Days. It's not bravado. It's not an outward confidence. It's this inward feeling that comes across whenever you talk to them, that they belong. That's kind of the feel that you get from these teams. And you get it from the Iowas of the world whenever they go out there. In years past, it was Wisconsin that, man, they're not saying anything over the top at Big Ten Media Days, but the way in which they speak just gives off this persona, hey, we belong. We're one of the teams to watch out for in the Big Ten. They're not going to say it, but you feel it. And I felt that a little bit more with Nebraska this year. I'm not willing to go out on a limb and say Nebraska is going to be a top team in the Big Ten this year, but they have the type of mentality that I think, just from my perspective, talking to these folks, made me feel like they have that inward belief, hey, we belong with the top dogs in the Big Ten.
And that's what Hooks and I talked about yesterday, is how do you leave Vegas not pretty much saying something stupid? Don't be the story leaving Vegas. Don't have a target on your back by coming out and being too outwardly confident. Just I think they did a great job yesterday, just having that confidence and belief in themselves. I felt Rule's comments, he was very, I think some media guys tried to get him a little bit, and he bounced around and kind of just like brought it back to his belief about the team. They've done a pretty good job in the offseason, keeping everything pretty close to the vest. Husker fans always like to have that Kool-Aid coming into the season, and I think they're trying to not temper expectations a little bit, but not have it be like where it was past years with all this hype coming in.
It's not an effort to temper expectations, but it is not. There is no effort from inside Nebraska to go boost expectations.
Yes.
We are what we are. We're confident in what we are. You'll see what we are here soon.
When I think he made it known that, you can even hear it, he likes this team.
It
wasn't anything over the top, but there was, I think there was some confidence that was projected out to everybody that was there. It wasn't I'm going to stand on top of the desk and say, hey, you guys, you better watch out for us. It wasn't to that degree,
right?
But you got the sense that when he talked about, we like this team, we're athletic, we expect to take that next step, and that's what you like to hear. And you knew what you were going to get when Rule got behind the microphone. He's got his limited just amount of notes of talking points, and like you alluded to, very, very hard to get him off track. He's well versed. He expects every question. And as he even got later on in the day asked about Scott Frost's comments,
we'll get to that.
I know we will. He expected that, and he had an answer for that. What I did find though too, while I'm still talking about that, is if you notice in his opening statement, and I don't know if this was just kind of a underhanded prelude to some of the comments that may have been made by a former coach this week, but he talks about the accountability and how you're accountable as a program. It's not just one person here and here or here and here. This is everybody's team. I don't know if you guys kind of caught that. I kind of was reading, maybe I was reading too much into it, but I think it was kind of a sentiment that, hey, Husker fans, this is your product. We are all responsible for it. The whole staff, all 120 guys down there on the roster. And we want, we're going to give it our all And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, it's on us. We're not going to start blaming everyone else. I didn't know if you guys had caught that.
Let's take a listen to that comment. He hit it in the opening statements, and he kind of doubled down with it with his first question that he answered at the big podium, which there's multiple sessions that guys hit. There's the big podium where you have the national media,
and then you have the
side session where the local media gets
where
to
he
drill
couldn't
down
hear
a little
anybody
bit more, but you get some more insightful answers. But from the big podium, the first cut we'll hear from Rules on that process, building a team-led program, and what that looks like in year 3.
Well, I think each and every day, it's really our players. Players talk to players more than we can. I get up in front of the team, I speak. I think they listen. I try to have tremendous relationships. Our coaches are great. People in the building are great. But at the end of the day, the program moves forward when players are talking to players about the right things. When they take the program from Coach Rule's program to their program, and right now it's their program. We went to dinner last night with the fellas, and they were kind of joking, like, Coach, you don't have to come tomorrow. We'll handle it for you, which I almost took them up on. But you could put Dylan, you could put Henry, you could put any of them up here, and I think we would all speak the same way because we believe in what we believe. And I've taken a lot of jobs, and when you walk into a job that hasn't been winning, everyone tells you what's wrong, and they usually say, well, it's this guy, it's that guy, it's the last coach, it's this, it's that. Good organizations win because everyone owns the product. Like very rarely on a bad team, when you take over a bad team, do you hear people say, like, you know what, I got to do better. And the reason why I believe that we're about to make the jump that we're going to make is because each and every day, whether it's our administration, whether it's the people around us, no one's saying it's this person's fault, it's that person's fault. Everyone's owning the product. And so, yes, we have to win more. That's the deal. But we came into a program that, we knew was going to take a little bit of time to fix. And so I think we're close to fixed. In terms of something I would have told myself when I was younger, there's a lot of things. But I think the most important thing is don't underestimate the impact you can have on young people's lives. I'm at a point now where guys that I've coached are getting married, they're getting jobs, they're going through good things and bad things. And every once in a while you have someone say, you know what, something that I was taught from Coach Rule or one of his assistants is helping me in my life. And that might not be popular on, sports talk radio, but it is how life works.
Well, I guess that includes us, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is funny because I was going to go right into the accountability side of things and skip over the players' lives. It's not popular on sports talk radio. It's as simple as that, but it is an important factor.
It is. I mean, that's not what obviously one of the topics we pick about, but at the end of the day, those, it is the job of that coach, not only on the field, but to, make those guys into young men, productive members of society.
But why it's not popular is at the end of the day, if you have a college football program that builds great men, but you're going 3-9, you're fired.
You are, because people don't buy season tickets to watch a bunch of people become great fathers.
And it's important. It's super important. Don't get me wrong.
It is, but it's not the focal point, right? So the ultimate thing you're paid for. But I like the fact that he talks about, from him, head coach, all the way down through the assistants, to the captains, all the way down to maybe the last walk on at 120, that the ownership, it's everybody. It's everybody's team. Everybody is responsible. No one's to blame. It takes us all to make this work. But I read into that, hey, the last coach thing. And I just thought that maybe part of what he said was to kind of calm what had happened this past week, where you saw one former coach just try and distance himself. And I don't know if you guys have you'll have it later or not, but when he's asked about it, he talks about how they have a picture hanging of Scott Frost down there in the office, and he's welcome back, this and that, and talks about, we'll probably get to that soundbite a little bit later about how hard of a job this was. He talks about that it wasn't a good job, when he first came here, but how he's turned it into a good job because of the facilities, because of the structured management above him, that it's now a good job. Doesn't mean he didn't want it, because he likes that challenge. He talks about liking the challenge. He talks about Raiola liking the challenge. Talks about Dylan, how, hey, you could have went to, Georgia and, been an easy route all the way to the national championship game. He didn't name Georgia by name, and maybe have to make a play here and there. And then all of a sudden you're the number 1 draft pick and you go to a crappy team where it is hard. Or you can come here where we have to build this, and you start out and you learn these challenges from the get-go. and you've already built those characteristics up. So when you go to the NFL and you're required to, maybe not be on as good of a team to start, how do you get your team to get there? How do you play in the elements?
That's a hell of a recruiting sell job.
It is,
but it's reality too.
And he talks, the weather, and the Rutgers game, 94 degrees and wind blowing 40 miles an hour every direction. You don't necessarily see that if you get drafted by Tampa Bay or Miami and stuff like that. And so there's multiple reasons why you should come to Nebraska, and we can do this together. And that selling pitch is one of the big reasons I think, it does help that he's a legacy, but, was able to entice Raiola to come here and, hey, let's do this together. And here they are going into year 2, both of them out there in Vegas, both of them with a lot of confidence. And I think we are excited, but, but as Husker fans, we've talked about this before, that a lot of the fans are getting tired of the little boy that cried wolf syndrome, as I call it, because we sit in here every August, late July, every August, and we start prognosticating, well, now if we look at this, maybe 9-3, maybe 10-2, this and this and this, and then something happens. You lose a game you shouldn't. You punt to the wrong side of the field, and we fall for that trap again. So now here we are. We're asking not only us, but the coach to be optimistic again. And there is a little bit of that fan base that's hesitant.
They're waiting to see it again.
But I'm telling you, from my standpoint, I'm objectively more optimistic about this season than I probably have been in a long time.
Does this preseason build-up process not feel, and not to get too Kool-Aid with you before fall camp even starts, but the lead up to this season, and I think it's evidence of what I said earlier, that quiet confidence that you saw yesterday feels a little bit more like those Bo Pelini teams, where it's not, we're excited for this season. It's more about, what, we have confidence in this season. That's I think how the folks that have been following it all off season long, and there's going to be the subset of fans out there that have been hurt before, that have had confidence going into season. Man, look at all these guys, these names are going to be great. This year, it's less about guys and names in the team. It's more about, man, this team feels like a team. And that's what I'll say about the Bo Pelini years is, yeah, there were great players out there, but top to bottom, you had 22 guys out there that played as one. And it hasn't always felt like that. I feel like Matt Rule has built the behind the scenes things, and does it translate to more wins? From my job here talking about Nebraska every single day, I sure hope so. It makes my job more fun, but that remains to be seen. We'll have a much better idea whenever you go out to Arrowhead and take on Cincinnati, whenever you go out to Michigan, when Michigan comes to town and you get them in a big time game that likely a lot of people across the country are going to be watching. How does that work out whenever the lights are bright? We'll see. But the behind the scenes stuff you see with this team this year and you hear coming out of this team is it feels more like they have the behind the scenes things right. The accountability, the team nature, the buy-in from players. It feels like all that stuff has been taken care of. Now it comes down to going out there on a Saturday and believing in yourself, believing in the guy next to you, and getting the job done. Which that's the hard part.
He's building a culture for sure.
Yeah.
And instilling that belief in players is a lot bigger than some people may realize. I equate it to I'm a youth baseball coach, and I have 2 examples. There was a kid on our team who was hitting 450 this season. Slumped near the end of the season, and he came up to me and he said, "Coach, I suck." I said, "No, you don't. You're one of the best players on this team, and you hit the 3-hole or a cleanup for a reason." And then in the state tournament, he comes up with one of the biggest hits of the entire season. His twin brother misses a fly ball, misreads it. He comes up to our head coach. He said, "Coach, I lost this the season." He said, "No, you didn't. You're batting leadoff. Go get on base. Find a way. I know you can." He gets on base. He scores. We end up winning that game. Instilling confidence and instilling belief in your players is something that's way bigger in sports than people realize. And he spoke about the narrative around the close games, and I felt that was one of the biggest talking points because we all know the narrative. We know how many close games we have lost in however many years it's been, and he's trying to flip that narrative. And I think he brought up a good point. Like, you got to go make a play. Somebody's got to go make a play.
And we look at the parts individually, and we maybe to what you were talking about with Pelini's team. There's no Ndamukong Suh on this team, and guys like that stand out. And if you look at where a lot of all the magazines and stuff, you don't have a lot of preseason all Big Ten first, second, third team or whatever. And Raiola ranked the 40th best quarterback in the country, but I think the sum of these parts and how we're looking at how that's going to come together, a lot of people are great because, back to the Pelini, is this fan base going to be okay with us just returning to 9-3 every year, or are we aspiring to something more?
Well, you talk about some of the great players you had during the Pelini years. I mean, I look at Rex Burkhead, Amir Abdullah. You can look at the defensive side as well, but Rex Burkhead and Amir Abdullah don't end up being what they are without Spencer Long, without Jeremiah Searles, without Mike Caputo, like guys in the offensive line that you're not going to talk about. Like they're not the sexy names that everyone on ESPN are going to be talking about, the guys that we here in Sports Talk Radio are going to be talking about, but the team is the sum of their parts. And Ndamukong Suh is great, yes, but is that defense as dominant as it could be without Philip Dillard, without Jared Crick, without Cam Meredith?
Philip Dillard.
Like there's guys that are a little bit
Stuart Bradley,
Eric Haig, guys within that defense.
Deion Gomes.
Yeah. Are we talking about them now 15 years later like we're talking about Suh? No, but is Nebraska in that Big 12 championship game if not for the efforts of other guys? Suh was fantastic against Texas. Don't get me wrong. But one person does not go and win a football game.
Correct.
That's some of the parts are going to have to do it. But
and I think there is that behind the scenes culture. Culture is the great word that feels more in line with what some of the better teams in Nebraska have been. You have that top to bottom nature of, hey, it's not any one player. We as a team are going out and winning football games.
Well, this is one of those topics we could talk all day, and of course we will, but we have to pay some bills. So we are going to take a break. When we come back, plenty of more snippets from the head coach and some players from Big Ten Media Days. You are listening to the Morning Hookup of KFOR. List because I got to take us into break. Never get to do that. I've never got to open a show yet, but I didn't. You were in here, so I deferred because you got seniority.
Well, if you want to come in tomorrow, I'll let you handle it tomorrow if you want.
Are you working tomorrow?
I'll be in.
Yeah.
So I should be in. We'll see. Tonight won't be. Well, I guess Mike's right.
Well, and I asked him, I'm like, Bill, you need me to come in today, but you're going out of town. You got it covered the rest of the week? Well, I think we do. That's something you check on before you get on that airplane.
See, today shouldn't be the 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. day that yesterday was. So
you're more machine than you are man.
Thank you. I try my best. Yes, because yesterday's a big day with Nebraska. I mean, today we got Schmitty is flying out 6 p.m. Vegas time, so we're a little bit more on it today with all the things we have to have accomplished. If that makes sense. I'm here where I'm cutting up Raiola last night, making sure we have all these cuts for this morning and all this stuff. So it won't be as late.
Do you have a lot of the sound bite, like the personal sound bites? Because then I know obviously that was from his opening address, and then he did that side thing where
we have stuff
the questions. And did you guys get one-on-one with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have stuff. I got the cuts pulled up here.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. And we've got through one.
We still got to get to the Frost wrong job comments. I like the cuts from Raiola, what he learned from his freshman season, what he wants to improve upon in year two.
The Frost one is a little bit of a longer soundbite.
3.5 minutes.
You want to do that coming back then?
Yeah.
That
ringer guy here.
Oh, it's spam. Hello, spam.
Hello?
No, Jennifer. Watch. Her name's Jennifer. Come on, Jennifer.
Hey, good morning. Amelia here.
Amelia.
Earnhardt, didn't you die over the Atlantic?
I love messing with spam calls. Oh my gosh.
And
put a girl on.
You'll get somebody from a different part of the country with an accent. And hello, my name is Mike. No, it's not. I mean, I can't trust you to use your real phone number or your real name. So I'm going to trust you with my bank account. We don't.
Mm-mm. We do this spam. We need a spam call. Me and my buddies, like $5. It's a chick. $5. It's a dude. Yeah. Then I answer it and I go, hello. And then see who wins.
Miniature bets.
Yeah, miniature bets.
Right. Those are prop bets. Scam call prop bets. I'm interested in what we're going to pull out for the next rejoin. You have to close my eyes forever.
We'll know here in about 10 seconds.
More like 18.
Oh. You. Good morning and welcome back into the Morning Hookup. Caleb, I'm impressed that you pulled that one out. Of course, we're having some Ozzy rejoins today in memory of probably, you know, whether you listen to this type of music or not, you know who Ozzy Osbourne is, whether it be through that genre of music or reality shows. I'll be quite honest. Him making it to 76 years old to me was a miracle.
Even he said a couple weeks ago before that last concert he performed, he said, I shouldn't still be here. I should have died long ago.
Right. And so, you know, hats off to him.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that one was on Madden way back in the
Madden
day?
12.
Yeah, it was.
That's a pull for me.
See, that's why I have you guys. But I am Matthew Malone, subbing in for Bill Hooks, who's going on an anniversary trip. Got Caleb in here on the, I'm going to say it, the ones and twos. Of course, Elijah.
I got about 30 minutes left here before we head back over to Big Ten Media Days.
Don't leave out our intern, Chase. He's got a microphone. Say hi, Chase.
How's it going?
There, see, we're all here. But we're talking Big Ten Media Days. Obviously, a lot to get to. I'm going to defer to you on which one of the clips you would like to go to. I mean, there's so many sound bites. I mean, it's hard to fill this in a 2-hour show. You could dissect everything he said. It would probably take 6 to 8 hours. We want to hit on some of the big points. What was another point of interest that you wanted to get with this morning?
Well, we could go with the Scott Frost comments. That being said, I know everyone out there wants to hear that. So I'm going to push that off for another 5 minutes and keep people on the airwaves here. Let's go to Dylan Raiola, what he had to say. He sat down with us, the Average Joe Sports Show, about 5:30 yesterday. We didn't know if he was going to hop on with us. And then here he comes strutting down the hallway ready to hop on with us. And we got about 4 minutes with him, and I think it's really interesting. Obviously, we all know Dylan Raiola needs to take a jump in year 2. I specifically look at the close ball games where if you able to hit a touchdown pass to Lindenmeyer against Illinois, you probably win that football game. If you're able to maybe pick up a first down instead of sliding against USC, can that turn into a long drive where you can go win that football game? Or if there's a pass interference called in the end zone, but a close game there. You look at a close game against Ohio State where you have the ball late with a chance to go tie the football game up, and honestly, probably Raio's worst interception of the season happened on that drive where he never saw the safety, throws it right to him.
Had other open guys on that drive.
Exactly. And then lastly, look at the Iowa game where it's
well, he could have used some help.
As we talked about last segment, it's not all on one guy. But again, you have the ball in a tie football game late, and I know you get the
It's hard to check down when you've got a guy running across a field with wide open.
Yeah, and this guy's got to catch that, but also knowing, hey, with the ball in your hands, a chance to win the football game. Would you like some better protection? Sure, but do you need to go out and win that football game if you're a 5-star quarterback that wants to take Nebraska where Nebraska wants to be? Yeah, I mean, Illinois was, 3-1 in one-score games last year, and Nebraska is carry the one here 0-5.
And and that's just this regime.
So I like Dylan Raiola, his comments. We'll start off with comment number 5 from Raiola, what he learned from his freshman season.
Kind of just riding the highs and lows of a season. You know, you have gains of like Colorado where feel like you're peaking, and then you go and play Illinois and you lose one by 3 points. And I think it's just the consistency level of doing things day in and day out to create habits that you can fall back on when the game gets tough.
More from Raiola, cut 6 year, what he wants to improve upon in year 2.
Yeah, all those one-score games, those were all games that this year that we look to win those games. And that's all it came down to was Coach Rule talking about the winning moments. And you win in those moments and you can put yourself in a position to win more games than you lose. And that's ultimately the goal and to put yourself in a position to be in the playoffs.
And I think us as fans is we tend to remember the what could have happened than sometimes, what went right, because he talks about the Colorado game. And I'll be quite honest, I don't remember him having a just blown away game against Colorado. I mean, especially that we didn't score a point in the second half. That defense, for the most part, did the Colorado game. Again, not to take anything away from him, but I know that Rule talked about the progression of Dylan Raiola, especially when he came in last year, high expectations, and you saw him trying to land what Rule called the wow plays right away. And then he went through that middle of the season slump, and we'll give a little bit of credit, or a lot of credit also to Dana Holgorsen too, with getting with Raiola about being able to live to fight another day. And you started to see that against Wisconsin and Iowa, and then of course in the bowl game, the checkdowns. You don't have to try and force that ball everywhere. every single play. Like Dan Marino would tell you, there's no such thing as a non-perfect pass. You put it somewhere, they'll catch it every time. There's only one Dan Marino. But I think that Dylan also matured to the point where you don't have to go out and impress everyone by trying to hit that 50-yard bomb every single play. Let's move the ball. Let's keep the defense off the field, and let's keep their defense on the field. And that's going to be a huge thing that I think us as fans and also the coaching staff looks for in year 2. Can you manage those series by being able to hit your third option? If the back gets out of the backfield when they blitz, are we going to be able to complete that and start again?
And Rule had a great comment with us sitting down. We'll get into his third cut here from the big podium in just a second on his new coordinators, but he had a great thought on Dana Holgorsen and what he wants from that offense. And he said, it's simple. Execution's what I want from him. And he said, Dana's a guy that's going to hold everyone to an extremely high standard. And that standard is execution. Like it doesn't come down to the fantastic splash plays you can make. It's, do you bring it every single day? Are you prepared every single day? And do you go out and execute on the field on Saturdays and what we're expecting of you?
And I liked what he said about how also, like you said, holding people to a standard. I don't care what you did last week. You still have to come into practice the next week and practice hard and show it again the next week. I don't care. It has to be a continuous effort.
Yeah, they want the players that are preparing for that week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to jump ahead too, but I mean, Rule even touched on. I don't. It's not always the highest paid players too that are playing too. He talked about a guy making a ton of money that didn't play toward the end of the season. I mean, we can kind of figure out who that probably was.
Two names you think of, in
right?
Particular. One on the offensive line, one in the secondary.
Right, and so it's going to be whether it's a walk-on or whoever. Like you alluded to, Caleb, last week's over, that game film, we've watched it. We're now preparing for this week's game. Who's going to go out there, bust their butt, watch this game film, go through the reps, go through practice, do what they need to do. Those are going to be the guys that we're going to lean on for this next upcoming game.
And I don't care about the name on the back of your jersey.
Yeah. Let's hear that third cut from Rule on the new coordinators, what he's expecting from them here in 2025.
Yeah, well, I'm thrilled with all three guys. I think the great thing about Dana is he's been a head coach. He knows the challenges of being a head coach. He has the loyal. I always feel like when guys have been a head coach and they go back to being an assistant, their comprehension of loyalty to the program, to the head coach changes. I mean, it's so hard to sit there as the head coach and make these decisions and have everyone be like, well, we should do this and we should do that. So Dana's elite in that. And I think my trust in him, where I bring a lot to him. I sit in his office like, hey, what do you think we should do here? What do we think we should do here? Eck just brings a ton of energy and belief. I think our guys believe so much in what we're about to do special teams wise. And then, I think John, the great thing was he was in the system. So, he knows what we've done, but he has so much knowledge from his time in the National Football League. He had the #1 secondary in Buffalo, I think, for like 5 years. And so his ability now, it's been an adjustment for him probably coming to college. And, you're not just coaching pros now, you're training guys. And so training and teaching guys, he had a chance to do that as a position coach. And now as a coordinator, I think he's done a wonderful job. He's meticulous. He's got some great guys there with him. He's got Phil Snow right there by his side. A guy that people don't talk about enough is Rob Dvorak. Rob's been with us every stop. Rob's going to be a coordinator someday. He's a special coach, but he knows all sort of the history of everything. And so we just have great people, and I'm blessed to down Corey Campbell, Kristen Coggin, the people down, Mitch handling sports science. Like there's some days I walk in and Mitch, I don't know what my job is, other than to recruit and go be a part of the players' lives. So the coordinators are going to do a great job. I'm very pleased.
That's Rule.
I like that.
On his coordinators.
I mean, that last sentence right there. I mean, when you get to the point where you have a supporting staff around you and you've been able to delegate a lot of the responsibilities as far as, how this program develops, I mean, that did hit the net. What do I do now as a head coach? Am I just the figurehead? Obviously, there's a lot more entailed in that, but you can tell that he really likes the staff that he has in place. And you never know from one year to the next if somebody is going to leave for another job, get hired or whatnot. But going into this 2025 campaign, I think there's a sense of confidence with especially the coordinator spots. We talked about your linebacker coach. that they really like what they have.
And that was the story of the offseason to me, not just in the coaching hires, but in the talent acquisition as well. Urgency. Urgency was the name of the game this offseason, where I look at what he went through this offseason. I mean, we all saw the struggles with the offense last year. What does he do? Mid-season, the urgency to say, hey, this isn't good enough. We need to be better. We need to do better for our 5-star quarterback and the talent we have offensively. And it's nothing personal against, I know it's a friend. Satterfield is a friend of Matt Rule's, but it's nothing personal. It's a business decision. We need to do better for our players. We're going to go to Dana Holgerson here, and we're going to see what he can do.
And so many times we've seen coaches that have friends on staff, whether it be Bill Callahan with, Kevin Cosgrove, that just they can't make that decision.
And another name here, I mean, you had miscommunication last year defensively between secondary and front seven, and Tony White gets another opportunity off with Florida State, and Matt Rule has the urgency to say, hey, you know what? We're going to go find a guy that I mean, he had it last offseason, kind of seen maybe the writing on the wall, bringing in John Butler, but saying, the urgency to know John Butler is the guy for us. He had the secondary buttoned up last year, despite the fact that it didn't always look that way. We're going to find a guy that has that detail-oriented, meticulous nature to go in and fix that, and not to mention Eckler, another friend in Foley that gets demoted. But he's going to have the urgency to bring in a guy in Eckler that is well acclaimed, and everyone knows the success he's had everywhere he's gone with special teams.
I think I got the motion through the glass. We're going to go ahead and take another break. When we come back, we are going to talk about, is this the right job? Was it the right job for everyone? We got some great comments from head coach Matt Rule that maybe hopefully will put this topic to rest for most Husker fans for the time being. That and a lot more in the morning hookup.
Record this year.
9-3 should be the floor. 9-3 should be the floor. It's always hard to do that, to go down this game, that game, because then you lose when you shouldn't, and then like last year, for instance, we went down the schedule, and at Ohio State, that was when I checked. You're losing that game, and then look, we're talking about the almost won. I'll play the game this year. One game that just really looked, that it's daunting is the trip to Happy Valley there. I think it's the first week in November, whenever that is, or maybe it's the second week. You're obviously your other big games. Is the Iowa game. You got Michigan. But Sharon Moore decides that he wants to sit this one out. So we'll see how his 6-star quarterback does under fire coming into Memorial Stadium with them not knowing what plays we're running.
Yeah.
I think the USC game will be very pivotal. But by that time, I think Lincoln Riley you'll know which direction his team is going for that year.
The schedule is favorable. I know that.
What was that, Caleb?
The schedule is favorable.
It is.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of stub your toe games, though, that you don't want to look over. We've talked a lot about Michigan State on this show. They're coming here to Lincoln, but that could definitely be one where you might overlook them a little bit.
Scrappy team.
Yeah.
And I think that, we were able to do this in the 80s and 90s and look ahead to, well, what's Oklahoma going to have on their, on their roster? What's Colorado going to have on their roster this year? And you can't. You need to have all 12 games on the calendar, and you need to have this big, huge piece of paper covering up 11 of those games. And the only thing that needs to show right now, it was August 28th at Kansas City versus Cincinnati. Then you move that paper ahead. It's our job as fans and media personality that we can look ahead, but those make no mistake. It's 12 individual battles, and don't think about the next one until you're done with the previous one. And it's easier said than done. I get it. I've played sports, and hopefully those guys can do that. I think it could be a special season, and just depending on how some of the other teams in the conference do, maybe we might have a shot to be this year's Indiana. We'll see how that goes.
All right, we're coming back.
Morning Hookup. All right. I had to finagle with the cord a little bit. You're listening to Morning Hookup. Kathy Malone, we got Caleb and Elijah. We are dissecting everything that the Husker coaching staff, players said. Yesterday's Big Ten conference meetings out in Vegas. I think for the last segment of this hour, I know that we don't like turning the clock back any, but one of the big talking points, of course, the past week was some comments from previous coach Scott Frost on him not really wanting this job. And of course that was the only thing the Husker fans had to talk about all week until we had Big Ten media days. It's the summer and it occupied the airwaves and the coffee shops at 5 a.m. in Western Nebraska with all the farmers, I'm sure, this week. And Matt Rule, I feel, did a great job of addressing what Scott Frost said, even though that Matt Rule has nothing, has no bearing on Scott's tenure here. But he did talk about maybe some of the challenges, of what the job may have meant to Scott, what it meant to him when he got here, what it means to him now. And I think he did a great job of also saying, as a player, what Scott Frost, meant for Nebraska. And what I gathered by the end of this, that hopefully this puts this topic to bed for Nebraska fans. Whereas had Rule got on and just got on there to rip Scott Frost, that I think that this would have just kind of snowballed this in fans' minds. And I think this was a good way to have some closure, I think, for the time being on this topic and move on.
And if you're out there listening, this is a little bit of a longer soundbite, so grab your popcorn and sit back and relax.
First of all, I have a ton of respect for Scott. And I've always been very empathetic for what he went through because, this was his home. If you guys fire me tomorrow, I'm just going to go back to Cape May and sit on the beach and go back to where I'm from. But, this was his home, right? And so, this offseason, we put up a huge picture of Scott as a player in the coach's area because I took a picture and I sent it to Ryan Callahan down there because I can't imagine, what that feels like for him, right? I know what it felt like to get run out of Carolina. And I would say to people, I don't think I took the right job for me. It wasn't the right fit. That doesn't mean it's a bad. No, I will say this. This was not a good job when I got here. Behind on NIL. The facilities weren't what they were. Everything was behind. Trev convinced me, hey, Matt, this is going to, by the time we get to the point where we're going to be able to pay players, this is the only Big Ten school with no debt. We're going to, this, right now we're talking about 20.5. It's going to go up percentages every year. And we're at a place where we have the best facility in football. We have everything that we could want. We make more of an investment in nutrition than any other team in the country. I mean, look at all of our sports. Look at how they're all blossoming right now because of the investments we're making in nutrition, sports science. There wasn't a sauna in the facility when we first got there. And now you got to pick between a steam room, a sauna, an infrared sauna, your personal sauna. Those were investments. Scott came at a time that he had COVID, he had all these different things. So I can't talk about his time. But what I can say was this wasn't a good job. Yeah, it was not a good job. But we've made it a good job, and we're about to make it a great job. This will be one of the best jobs in the country. You walk in, and everyone's like, well, that was Scott's fault. In Carolina, said that was Matt's fault. But, good programs, it's everybody. So, why are we going to win now? We're going to win because of Troy. We're going to win because of Tom Pede. We're going to win because of Sean Pede. If the Pedes don't do what they did in 1890 and the investment they made this spring, we're dead. We're dead. Because these other schools, they have all of this. And so the investment that Pedes made, the investments we're about to make in this stadium. Now, I don't know what the stadium is, so don't ask me because I purposely don't know. So when people ask me, I can be like, yeah, guys, I have no idea. But I keep hearing about what the stadium's going to be. But Trev articulated it. And what Troy's done is Troy's come in and he's not been afraid to take heat. He's made decisions that he feels like are right. And that's what makes it a good job. When the leaders are going to make decisions that they think are right, no matter what the public outcry is, then you have a chance to be really, really successful. I think Scott was just talking about for him. Wasn't the right fit. And I respect that. And I feel for him. And I want him to always know, the things he did at this school, I want him always to feel like he could come back and has a home there. That being said, it's the right job for me. And Julie knew it. She's sitting over there. She told me the day we interviewed, she's like, that's the right job for you. Because I like to go into a place that needs fixed and try to start. I like starting with the nutrition program and I like starting with the sports science. Even if there was no sports science really, but I like starting with all that stuff. And There were 24 ACLs in the 4 years before I got there. There were 49 major knee injuries. There was an old beat up turf field outside. There was a bad grass field outside, and like that costs money to fix. You should see our grass right now. It looks like Augusta out there, like the grass practice fields. And so I just want to make sure I always say, like, everyone can point and say what went wrong. It takes everybody saying, hey, what's my area? Courtney just redoing the whole facility. Haven just making sure we have everything we need. And so I think it's a great job now.
Obviously a lot in that soundbite, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Matt Rule, not only a head coach, but a diplomat. I think that was a great response. You know, he alludes to the fact that I can't speak for Scott, but this is what he was dealing with, COVID, yada, yada, yada. Kind of, you know, hey, let's move on. And
like you said, he very easily could have come out and just dogged Scott and been like, I can't believe he said that. He's like, no, people didn't really expect that from Rule.
Do we think Rule is going to go down and push another coach into the dirt, though?
No, you knew he wouldn't. No.
But the answer seemed genuine.
It did.
And that's the difference. Is he could have said, man, I think this is a great spot for, I love the state of Nebraska. This is an awesome place. I can't speak for former coaches. He, instead of sidestepping it, addressed it head on and said, you know what? Scott might not have been wrong. For where he was and what his strengths are, this probably wasn't a good spot for him. But it was a good spot for me. And these are the improvements I'm making. I'm turning this into a great job. He didn't have to answer it like that, but he chose to for a reason.
Well, that will wrap up hour number one. When we come back, hour number two, we'll talk just a little bit more about the Big Ten Media Days, and we will also have Husker basketball legend Henry T. Buchanan on hour number two, the Morning Hookup.
We'll provide you answers to your most pressing retirement questions and help you navigate ever uncertain financial times. Don't just retire, retire smart. That's Saturday mornings at 7 or Sunday mornings at 6.
Investment advisory services offered through Smart Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles?
Comment tu t'appelles? Vous êtes où?
Vous êtes où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
how's your French going?
You can say,
Babbel est amusant et facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue. Et cela ne prend que 15 minutes par jour.
When you want to really learn another language, it starts with Babbel. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating over 16 million subscriptions sold. Now save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, we'll figure it out.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Is your vanity a calamity? Your lighting frightening? Enter Handyman Home Remodeling Center's 10th annual Ugly Bathroom Contest. Take a snapshot of your outdated ugly bathroom. Tell them all about it. First place gets $3,000. Second place, $1,000. Third place and the best written submissions, $500. Enter by July 29th at handymanhome.com/contest. Voting ends July 31st. No purchase required. For the very best in bathrooms, come to Handyman under the arch on Sun Valley Boulevard, Lincoln.
What are the two best things about summer? Baseball and beer. Haymarket Park Beer Fest is back Saturday, August 2nd. Sample over 100 beers from dozens of breweries, then catch the game. It's all included with your Beer Fest ticket. VIP gets in early at 3:30. General admission at 5. Discount tickets on sale now at haymarketpark.com/beerfest. Haymarket Park Beer Fest. Cold beer, great baseball, and summer fun. Sponsored by Alpha Media.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. Let me explain what makes Skechers slip-ins so incredible. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. Skechers slip-ins have laces, and once you tie them to fit your foot just right, you never have to tie them again. They also come in boots, dress shoes, sneakers, work shoes, sandals, and every other kind of shoe you wear every day. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoe horn that slides your foot in. Then a comfy heel pillow cushions your foot and keeps your shoe on securely. So they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Just step in and go, completely hands-free. And everybody I know who tries them doesn't want to wear shoes that aren't Skechers slip-ins ever again. They're just that amazing. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The man convicted of killing 4 University of Idaho students in 2022 will be in court about a half hour from now. Brian Kohberger is expected to plead guilty to the murders. ABC News legal contributor Eric Faddis says the families of those killed are expected to speak, but it's unclear if Kohberger will.
He does have the right to allocution. Every criminal defendant has that when they're sentenced to make a statement on their own behalf. Some of these mass killers, sometimes they do it for the infamy. Sometimes they like the attention. Sometimes they want to have this sort of mass exposure and to be heard.
Kohberger's defense team and the prosecution both agreeing that he should serve 4 consecutive life sentences. President Trump announcing a new trade deal, 15% tariffs to be imposed on Japan. Here's ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce.
The Japanese this morning are lauding this as a win-win, but a 15% tariff is still significant, higher than it was before Trump took office. The bottom line here, Americans could still face higher prices on products imported from Japan, everything from cars to electronics, if businesses have to pass along these costs to consumers.
95 million people in the central and southern part of the country are on the alert today for some blisteringly hot weather.
The core of the extreme heat, it's over the Mississippi River Valley. Places like Jackson and Memphis, Paducah, all feel like readings over 110. The heat goes up to Chicago and Minneapolis on the edge of that heat dome. Some severe weather from Nebraska all the way to the upper peninsula of Michigan. So have some damaging winds and downpours, even an isolated tornado.
ABC meteorologist Lee Goldberg, the UN's top court, saying today failing to protect the planet from climate change may be a violation of international law. Some of the most respected aid agencies in the world, including Save the Children and Doctors Without Borders, have released a joint statement sounding the alarm over mass starvation in Gaza. A spokesman for Israel says there is no famine in Gaza. That was up 197. This is ABC News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eloquist.com or call 1.
Staying cool in the heat and humidity. Good morning. I'm Jeff Moats. 87 degrees at KFOR. It may be a good day for you to limit any outdoor activities because of the heat and high humidity. A heat advisory is in effect until 8 o'clock tonight, but it starts at noon. And Lincoln Lancaster County Health Director Carrie Kernan advises you to be careful.
We urge residents to take precautions, including staying cool and hydrated, and to closely monitor weather conditions.
Kernan says drink plenty of water, wear light-colored or loose-fitting clothing, find air-conditioned places to cool off, put on sunscreen if you're going to be outside, and never leave pets in the car. A 29-year-old Lincoln man is in jail for leaving the scene of an injury crash involving a pedestrian late Tuesday afternoon at 48th and Sumner. Lincoln Police Lieutenant Jason Goodwin tells KFOR News that a northbound SUV on 48th was going through a construction zone with workers pouring concrete. The driver hit a 23-year-old Lincoln man who landed on the hood of the SUV.
The driver continued to South 49th and Sumner, where the worker fell off and the driver left the scene.
A second worker was hit but not hurt. The worker hit suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Around 8 o'clock Tuesday night, Alexander Hester was tracked down in his home and arrested. After an overnight stop in Norman, Oklahoma, members of Nebraska's Urban Search and Rescue Team Task Force 1 arrived back in Lincoln on Tuesday afternoon. 45 members of Task Force 1 spent 2 weeks in the hill country of Southwest Texas, helping with search and rescue and search and recovery from the July 4th deadly floods. Kobe Werner is with Omaha Fire and Rescue and is on Task Force 1. He told KFOR News and other reporters what they first saw after arriving on the scene.
Everything around that Guadalupe River was just what you saw. Complete devastation for miles and miles. You know, they broke it out into different divisions. We were fortunate enough to be a part of 2 of the different divisions throughout the time that we were there. We did a lot of wide area searches.
Werner says he hopes they help provide some closure for the Texas residents affected by the flood. Heat advisory from noon today until 8 this evening. Sunny today and a high of 96. I'm Jeff Moats, KFOR News.
Tires worn out, air conditioner not cooling, battery giving up? Summer's heat takes a toll on your vehicle. Let 6-to-6 Auto Service make sure your car, truck, or SUV can get you where you need to go safely and without trouble. From brakes and oil changes to complete engine diagnostics and cooling systems, 6-to-6 Auto Repair handles it all. Don't be stranded this summer. Book your appointment at 6to6autoservice.com now. That's 6to6autoservice.com. When you need it fixed, it's 6-to-6.
Ooma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Welcome back in to the Morning Hookup here on KFOR. Kick off hour number 2. But Caleb, I had to come sliding into this chair. I was downstairs here in the building. You know, I'm only ever in the building, obviously, when I need to sub and stuff. And I had received an email earlier this week from Joy Patton. She works downstairs. I don't want to get her job title wrong. I know she's a higher up. We'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
And Joy does a great job of sending out the emails when we are going to put on the celebrity first responders softball game that we do out at Haymarket Park every year. Great time. And it's usually this building here. You know, you have the Eagle, KFRX, Kicks, and all those personalities. And we team up with Channel 10-11, and we usually get the fire department. And we play this softball game against some of the other radio stations and I believe Channel 8, and then the police department. And it gets more competitive than you would think.
Oh yeah,
more competitive than you would think. A couple years ago, they whacked us really good, but we got our revenge last year.
We got to get back at them.
But
just came unplugged. I can't hear what you're saying.
Yeah, so no, that's all right. But I had to go down and tell Joy that this will be the first time in like 5 years that I won't be able to play. I have to go out to Colorado with this even sounds funny to say it, my senior softball team. It's for us guys that are 50 and over. We have a team out in Nebraska, and we're going to qualify for nationals out in Colorado. So
wow.
won't be able to play in that celebrity first responder game, but
a phone call.
We'll next year. Well, we know who that phone call is. It's more than likely going to be Henry T. Buchanan. But so that's a great event that's coming up, and we'll talk about that more. I'm sure Hooksy will talk about it more. Hooksy plays in that thing every year. And if you guys ever listen to the Kicks Morning Show, Husker Nick and Husker Nick did the talk radio here before Bill did. Avid softball player, so I know he looks forward to playing in that game every year. And your guy, the host over there on 96.6, JP.
Yeah.
He loves to pitch in that game.
Really?
Oh yes. And don't kid yourself. Now JP can play ball.
Yeah.
Like I played high school ball. Well, we didn't have high school ball because we went to a Class B school. We had Legion.
Yeah.
And so I got to play Legion ball with JP.
Do you
so
still go by Jamie or?
I don't think we're supposed to tell people that, but he's going to be mad at me. Thanks, Chase.
That's my fault.
Okay. But yeah, so there's ball players in this building, and that's always a good time. So
we got a friend of the show, Ernesto, coming on to say what's up.
Okay, bring on Ernesto. I'm interested if Ernesto watched any of the Big Ten media days yesterday.
Ernesto?
Yeah, absolutely I did. You look great. Yeah, I'm really impressed with Matt Rule. He's a stand-up guy, and his comments on the one who shall remain nameless, in my mind, he speaks the truth. And he also was talking about the NIL, how they were behind and doing the right things. The players that are out there, but those players are going to go back and do the right things with the players that are still at home. It's stepping up in the Big Ten media days, and that's going to carry into the season because leaders matter. There's no doubt about it.
You know what I find hilarious, Ernesto, that you and I both, and this is totally unsolicited, refer to him in was it the Voldemort or whatever that help me out yes, he who shall not be named. Yeah, I do the same thing here. That's totally awesome. Did you get a chance to listen to Coach Signetti before Rule came on?
No, I did not.
Okay, because if you get a chance to go back, because everything you just said about just the podium presence and Matt Rule, that it to me was a different type of presence, almost to an arrogance from the Indiana staff. And I heard from so many Husker fans while he was up there speaking, talking about that's they're glad they're not represented that way. Not saying it's wrong, and maybe that works for that school, but I know that you are an avid fan and listen to a lot of stuff, and I didn't know if you got a chance to catch that. But if you did not, you need to go back and let me know what you think about Coach Signetti, but for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. I'll go back and look at it. And arrogance isn't what we want. We want a guy that's confident, well-groomed. SEC media days, he's much better than any of the SEC coaches I saw during that time. So anyway, real quick, I got to give shout out to YZ. Thanks for playing my song, Planetary Deterioration.
You bet.
Don't forget.
Did you see me bebobbing?
What's that? Oh, yeah. That's an old breakdancing song that my buddy did down in Miami. But at the 450 mark, don't forget, they got the Wicked Witch of the West saying, going so soon, I wouldn't hear of it.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway.
Ernesto, you're starting to show your age a little bit.
I'm going to now because I played on the ones and twos, and you know where that comes from.
Yeah, I do. The
turntables.
Turntables, yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Technique 1200s, man. Mark IIs, that's what I got. The state-of-the-art direct drive turntables.
We'll have to have Ernesto up here in the studio sometime. Let him scratch it up some.
Yeah. I'll have to send YZ one of my scratches that I did for the lacrosse team. But anyway, hey, I got a doc visit tomorrow. I may have to have chemo, YZ, and if I do, you got to keep that head shaved for me if I lose my hair. Okay.
All right. It sounds like a deal. We'll keep you in our thoughts, Ernesto.
Yes. All right. Hey, hope that goes well for you, Ernesto. You're one of the great followers of the program. So thoughts and prayers. Hope that goes well for you, kid.
Yeah, tell my boy, the legend, Ernesto says hello. I love him. See ya.
See ya.
He didn't ask me to shave my hair because I don't have a lot left.
Well, do you know the story behind my shaved head?
Was it baseball related?
Yeah.
I think I tuned in that day.
Yeah, we won the state championship,
yes.
And I told him in the week 2 of practice back in September that if we won the state championship, that they could shave my head, and they didn't forget. So
we went out, and I know I chimed it in. We went out to Colorado the previous week with my son's Legion team, and there were two Nebraska teams out there. Ralston was one of the other ones.
Okay.
And Ralston was one of those teams that when they made state, and it's not uncommon, you may start to see this or see it more, where all the kids go in there and they dye their hair blonde.
Yep.
Like more blonde than yours, Chase.
Yep.
And by the time we got out to Colorado, because we played them, during the in the high school season, and then right at the beginning of the year, right after they had got done with state, and all their hairs, they looked like Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
And so now here they are. We didn't play against them; they played before us, and most of these kids' hair had grown out and they'd cut it by then. But you still had the one or two stragglers, still with the blonde gold mullet. And I know ladies don't like this, but your roots are starting to show. It's like, yeah, time to trim the weave there, bud.
Yeah, I've never really understood the whole bleaching the hair thing, and it starts to get really orange, and then because they don't. Well, the boys definitely they don't take care of it. It's just,
guys don't care about split ends or brittleness, do they?
Not.
No.
Absolutely not.
Not one of the things that we had to worry about growing up, thankfully. So
something I don't have to worry about now with not having hair. It's incredible. Like there's.
Well, the money you're saving on shampoo.
Well, no kidding. Well, I do scare myself a little bit sometimes because I'm not used to not having hair. It's been like 2 weeks now, but I'll walk in the bathroom and turn the light on the mirror. And I'm like, oh God.
To startle yourself?
Scare myself in the mirror a little bit. But also at the same, there's pros and cons. I wake up sometimes and I don't have to do anything. And just
do your hair.
Yeah, exactly.
You shouldn't find hair in your food.
Correct.
At least yours.
Yeah.
Well, here's my question though. I mean, obviously you have a hat on today. What was sun management like that for you right after you shaved your head?
Yeah, well, my friend, so here there's a story behind this.
Well, we're here all day. Not actually, we only have another hour, but
so when they were shaving my head, when the team shaved my head, the clippers died. So they started and they did like a line right down the middle.
I'd have left it.
And then they did one in the back. So there was a whole bunch of just patches around my head. And I was like, I'm not keeping it like this. Absolutely not. So I went home and my roommate is just dying laughing. And so he ends up just shaving my entire head. And he's like, oh my God, your scalp is white. Because I had a pretty good tan because baseball, being outside, my head wasn't tan. So
looked like a white helmet, didn't it?
Yeah, it was like white. And then my skin was dark. And so, yeah, I don't know. I wear a lot of hats in general, so I haven't really got the head very tan. I have a hat collection, so I pretty much wear a hat everywhere I go.
It would be cool, if with you having the tan being outside, and then when you shave that with it being very, very white,
mm-hmm.
It would be cool to do that right before a home game. And so it looked like you have a white helmet on and then paint a couple of red ends right above your ears.
That'd be pretty sick.
We'll try it.
I might do that.
We'll get someone to try that. So, just got a little bit of time here left before we bring on Henry T.
He's hanging out down there. He's not up on the stage yet, but he's
in the green room.
Yeah, he's listening.
All right. Well, the time management more. Do we have time for another clip from yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty quick here.
All right. Year 3. So much has been said about year 3. Have we put an unfair amount of pressure on Matt Rule because of how well documented year 3 is at Rutgers and Baylor?
This has been probably the only thing that has scared me a little bit coming into the season. I've brought it up on the show a little bit. And when we've done interviews with Evan Bland, Robin Washut, I've talked to these guys about it. It feels like a little bit of a target on your back because I've heard not just Nebraska fans say, oh, Rule's had success in year 3 at other places, and he's coming into year 3 in Nebraska. So it's like, if they don't have year 3 be successful, then what?
Right.
Is he gone? I don't think he'll be gone. But
and what defines success too?
Exactly. Because I mean he's made Big 12 championships. He's turned programs around by year 3. So
right. And then we start, is it fair to compare, what, and I think I said Rutgers, I meant Temple. Is it fair to compare Temple to compare Baylor? Yes, it's the Big 12, but let's not make any bones about it. The Big 10 is now a better conference than that Big 12.
Yeah.
Is the expectations that you have to make a championship game in the Big 12? Is that fair to him? Or are we okay showing progress? I mean, last year we go back and we look at maybe the Iowa game or the Illinois game as games you should have won. But at the end of the year, I still think that looked better than it did year one. Yes, there are still things you can improve on, and yes, there are still things you let get away. But now, I'm not saying in black and white that you have to go 10-2 or you have to make the college football playoff. That I think that those are unfair expectations. Just like any employer is going to do when you go into that corner office for your quarterly review. You know, you may have some certain goals that you need to hit, maybe from a sales point or whatever, but are you a better coach, and is this a better program than when we met last time? And I think that's what people want to see. You're always going to have the fans that obviously a year 3, okay, we need to be 13-0 and we need to be playing for the national title. I mean, let's be realistic, because when he took this over, he talked about it. It wasn't a good job. We had slowly over 20 some years watched this thing drop down to the bottom of the ocean. And I think it's unfair to put that on any coach to expect that in 3 years to reverse what had happened over 20.
Elijah talked about how coming into this season, I don't know, it feels different. I sort of felt that after the bowl game against Boston College, there was sort of just a different feeling around it. Like we could have very easily blown that game, and we almost did, like Nebraska always does, but they didn't. And I don't know, just after that game, I don't know if you felt it a little bit. It was kind of just like, okay, here we go. Like there's a belief between the team. I think there was a lot of belief that came to the fans after that game.
And it was. And, he talked about it last year about it being game one of this season, even though you had last year's seniors, like, Ty and Nash and stuff. And those guys all wanted to be there. They were all there because they wanted to be there and they wanted to put this program into good hands. So it was a good way to start the season off. We don't want to shortchange our next guest. When we come back after break, a man who will not only talk about Husker basketball, but he knows about Husker everything. Well-versed, and he's a Husker legend for a reason. We'll have Henry T. Buchanan on after the break on the Morning Hookup. He's not lit up in blue on my screen.
Yeah, give me.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Moment.
Holla if you hear me.
What's up, fellas?
T.
What's up? What's up, you?
How are you?
All right. I just
you're in a very sunny room today.
Well, I'm in the office this week. I'm in the office this week, and I have to go to one of our little dialogue rooms. And last time I had these shades down, Bill's like, let the shades, and we want to see the sun. Definitely during the winter, during the winter time there in Nebraska. So he wants to enjoy the sun that we get the opportunity to be a part of on a day-to-day basis.
We'll be doing an Ozzy Osbourne tribute, but I can't.
You can't. Yeah, you got to play T's song. Yeah. I mean, it's T. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I was beginning to think you always just worked from home. I did
1 week, the third week of every month, we work in the office.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we work in the office. So we got this real estate. We got to utilize it. And I wouldn't be surprised down the road if we get more weeks. And this started with, of course, COVID.
Sure.
We were 100% at home. And then when we got safe enough, we start trickling back into the offices. And well, we had 5 buildings, but now we're down to 3. We leased 2 of the buildings with Carvana.
Yeah, that's a real thing. We're out in Denver and seeing this building that's about 8 stories high with a bunch of vehicles in it.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a commercial on TV. It was a real thing. I'm like, Xavier's asked me, how'd they get that car down? Well, it's like a vending machine. You put in your $5 bill and whatever car you want, it just slides down the chute. I know that's not how it works, but T, did you get a chance to watch any of the Big Ten media then yesterday?
No, I sure did. I missed it yesterday. It was my first day back. I just got in from Michigan, and so I was on the plane all day Monday, and then yesterday I was playing catch up. Playing catch up at work, and but if I'd have been home, well, I know. I shouldn't say that too loud because I might.
No. I just want to ask you before we went on air.
My team can hear me.
No, but like if T is home and Husker women's rifle is on TV, he's watching it. It's just like my house.
Yeah,
if there's something
bowling,
Husker on, we're watching it.
Oh yeah, and then I look for it actually. I look for I got one of my favorite pages is Husker.com and
Not
I
to
got
cut
all
you
the
off, sorry,
athletics.
but we're coming back here.
Okay.
That's the best part of the song. You don't want to interrupt it. But when you hear that music here on KFOR, you know that it's Wednesday, second hour, and we've got in. I know I always say too much. One of my favorite players ever, Henry T. Buchanan.
What's up to you?
Good morning,
What's up,
Henry.
YZ? Hey, appreciate that. And that's the original song was phenomenal with that. I just like because most people don't know me, I'm a jazz guy, and I do listen to R&B, but what I listen to more is the music versus the lyrics. I'm not a lyrics guy, but I just love music and the way, the mood that it puts me in and things of that sort. So that's why jazz never gets old to me. And it was funny. I was just in Michigan, and I was riding with I got an Uber to the airport, and the driver was listening to Sympathy Orchestra music, and of course, I listen to all music, but not specifically that type of Sympathy Orchestra music, and but I could relate because I'm such a jazz guy, so I kind of started up a conversation, and the guy talked my head off for about the whole trip to the airport about
Funny how that works sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, but he was all excited that I even had interest in his music, and so it was a good thing. And speaking of, and I get to the airport, so you can't make this up. So I get to the airport, so I always get there a couple hours early. So I'm sitting in the at my gate, just kind of getting situated and playing on my phone and what have you. So I see this gentleman walking towards me, and I just glanced, and I said, God, that guy looks familiar. And I put my head down and looked up again as he got closer. I said, wait a minute, that's Steve Taylor. And so it was Steve Taylor.
Well, you would recognize him, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. But it was from a distance.
Oh,
and,
okay.
And, Steve and I graduated the same year.
Right.
We went to school together. He was the quarterback, and I was the point guard. And,
did he have his glasses on? Maybe that
was.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but he would just. But I kind of, I don't see Steve all the time. But when I saw him walk in, and I said, that's Steve's walk. Yeah, Steve's built, closer. He said, that is Steve. And so I ended up joining him and his beautiful wife, Stephanie. And then they guess who they were with? They were out on the golf. It was so ironic. I was in Rochester Hills, which is just north of Detroit. They were in Rochester Hills too, golfing at a resort, some country club. And myself and my friends was golfing at another country club. He was with our former AD, Sean. Was it iHorse?
iHorse? Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up sitting with the Steve and his wife and Sean and his wife, and we had about an hour and a half of just good conversation. And it was, and of course it was all Nebraska. Steve had his Nebraska shirt on, I had mine on, and we're just talking about, not only the football program, the basketball program. And, I kind of met Sean because we brought up Bill Jackman. Bill Jackman has every year he has a dinner and kind of a get together with donors down in Dallas. And I told Sean, I said, Sean, I was there. I met you down there. That's when I first met you. And he just of course, you don't met so many people. You haven't had, it's mainly for football.
Yeah, I don't know why they call Fred the mayor. You should be the mayor.
No, I was down there. Lorenzo Hicks, I went to school with, was there. Eric Warfield, and a bunch of us was there. So I'm mingling with all the football players. And of course, Bill and I, the only basketball players, is at Bill's place. And it was pretty neat and great conversation just around, the basketball program and where Matt Rule had the program going. And of course, we talked about some of the, what got us here, what's got us to Matt and things of that sort. So very, very interesting. So anyway.
Well, T, we I don't know if you were able to tune in during the first hour. Obviously, we talked a lot about Big Ten media days. We'll ask you a little bit of football questions. Obviously, when we have you on, we love to expand on your basketball knowledge, and of course that's going to be getting here sooner than we know it.
Yes.
The one question on my drive over this morning that I wanted to make sure that I asked you, because I honestly I couldn't remember that, but I wanted to talk about when you were in school. Did we have? I guess it would be Big 8.
Yes.
Philip 66. Did we have Big 8 media days? And did you ever get to go as one of the reps with Coach Nee to those? And tell us how that was.
Yes, I was a team captain, and I was the guy that went to Big 8 days, and it was kind of interesting. It's not as huge as it is now, but in its own right, it was huge to us. And back then, you didn't have a lot to talk about, other than what you're preparing for the upcoming season. And keep in mind, we just came off a 21-win season, and with a lot of experience with the Brian Carrs, Bernard Day, Bill Jackman, and Mike Marks, and then we had Joe Sealer and Keith Newbert on that team, who was more having players, and then they were replaced. They were replaced with Rich Keene and Clifford Scales and Bo Reed, and then of course EJ came along. So it was two totally different teams. So basically, you just kind of asked me, okay, so what are some of your goals, and what do you have in mind for this upcoming season? And this, and my response was basically, coming from a 21-win season with a pretty much experienced upper class type of team to really only we had three seniors, myself, Derek Vick, and Jeff Breckaway. And then we had Richard Van Pogies, who had played last year. Unfortunately, Rodney Curtis had been in an accident, so we wasn't able to utilize him. And then freshmen, Bo Reeves was a redshirt freshman. We had Clifford Scales and Rich Keene, who was coming in.
Was Keith Moody on that team yet?
No, Keith was after us.
Okay.
Keith played with Ray Richardson and Carl Hayes and those guys.
Okay.
Yeah, DePriest Owens and
double zero.
And Louis Jeter. I don't know if a lot of people don't remember Louis Jeter. He was here for a couple of years, and after a couple of years, he ended up transferring to a MAC conference team, and ended up being their conference player of the year 2 years in a row. And it's slipping my tongue what team I want to say it's a team out of Ohio he transferred to. Not sure. Miami of Ohio. I'm not sure. I can't remember what team, but they were loaded. That was, I know a lot of people talk about the Strickland and Deron Boone and Andy Woodrich and
no, the 90-91 team was the loaded team when you had Tony Farmer came in, Kevin Ramos, and
Rich
and Cliff were all seniors. Yeah,
well, I'm just talking about 1 year recruiting, because those guys joined Carl Hayes, DePriest, and those guys. See, Carl Hayes and DePriest and Louis Jeter all came in at the same time. Ray Richardson, so that team was, that four with that size. I think Jeter was like 6'6", maybe 6'7", with Ray at 6'7", and Carl 6'8", DePriest 6'8", 6'9", and it was a really. And then they had opportunity to play with Tony Farmer and some of those guys, and I think Moody ended up being their point guard and things of that sort. So that was the heydays. That's when Danny was just getting his feet wet, because his first year was a really great year playing with, bringing D. Vick and I in to team up with Moab players, and we played tough. And then the next year with the freshmen with EJ, and then so he was just getting started. And I mentioned this to Steve Taylor and Sean. I said, Danny Nee doesn't get enough credit because of the way it ended, but people don't realize he went to 10 out of his 14 years coaching. He was in a postseason tournament, not to mention winning the NIT, winning the Big 8 tournament, finishing third in NIT, going to 4 NCAA tournament games. Unfortunately, he didn't win one, and he's still the winningest coach in the history of the program. And and I know, a lot of people don't relate. The newer, younger generation don't really understand and know who Coach Nee is. Because every time I run into a young person in the airport or something, and the first thing they want to talk about when I say I played in the mid-late 80s, and they're like, "Who is your coach?" And I say, "Coach Danny Nee," and they look like a deer with the headlights on them, and they just look at me like, "Who is that?"
Well,
go ahead.
Your comments about your coach when you played actually relates to my next point. We talked in the break. You were unable to tune into Big Ten Media Days, but Matt Rule had some comments, spoke a lot about how he's building a team-led program and instilling confidence. And we said the word culture. How important is it to build a culture around a team? I mean, you talk all the time about guys that you played with and, the camaraderie you guys had. Yeah. How important is it to build confidence, build that chemistry, and what was it like in your playing days, and what did Coach Nee do in the offseason to build that culture around the team?
Well, he always and Coach Nee and really Coach Bargan, who came to Nebraska along with Derek Vick and I from Hutchinson JUCO, always depended on his upperclassmen, which at that time, sophomores versus freshmen. And that just kind of same thing that Coach Nee had the same philosophy where I never understood why he was hard on me until we had.
I understand why.
yeah. But we start having personal conversations and because I was the leader. And so if the leader was able to take the tongue lashing, then the younger players and the other players would follow along. And
he expected more out of you. And
exactly. And not only expected more, but in addition to that, he wanted us to lead in a lot of different ways because he knew he was building a program. So he had to depend on his upperclassmen to set that tone. And that was the culture that he built, was around more of his leadership from whether you were a starter, because for instance, after D. Vick and Jeff Rockaway and myself graduated, Bill Jackman was still around and stayed with the program, who knew what the culture that Coach Nee was trying to build. And then he brought in a lot of more. EJ had another year who kind of led the team. Bo Reed, fortunate enough for Bo Reed, he redshirted and then played a year with us, and then he became a natural leader. So the culture was more about learning from the players who've been there before, and worked hard. And our effort on the court, or even preconditioning was crucial. And I still get a hard time. Morgan Greger gives me a hard time because I was an Ironman recipient, where and that Ironman was the one who worked the hardest in the weight room and things that sort. And I was actually I think Bo Reed and I tied for the strongest index player on the team, but Morgan Greger teaches me about my vertical increase. I think I increased my vertical about like 3 inches from the start to the
hopefully it wasn't 0 to start.
Well, it was close.
All right, we can get a phone book underneath you now, right?
Yeah. But I got a photo, and I'm going to stick with this story, and it's a true story, but it's a photo with me laying the ball up by the rim, and I tell everybody I was on the way down, from the lake. The ball's kind of still in my hand, and I'm going up, and I'm letting it release it, and I'm by the rim. I dunked once or twice, but not in the game or anything. But only a few people have witnessed me dunk the ball. So, but I could dunk. It just wasn't my cup of tea. My tea was shooting the ball.
Don't need a dunk when you can drain threes. But T, you talk a lot about the culture and how that obviously can involve, how good of senior leadership any program has. And we got some breaking news this morning. Of course, it was to be expected. Rink Mass has been cleared 100% for basketball activities, and I don't need to tell you the importance of what Rink Mass will do for this Nebraska team for this upcoming year. Hopefully we get a chance to go down there again. That's one of the things I always enjoy doing with you, is watch these guys in preseason practice.
Oh yeah,
but it looks like we've got we've maybe have like something similar, maybe not with the experience, but in 90-91, and we talked about that, how you had 2 players at every position, and it made it tough for a rotation because you could put any one of the 10 out there. If you look at this roster, Rink coming back, he's going to have a lot of pieces around him. Talk about the importance, obviously, of Rink coming back and what that can also do for the development of the other guys there in the front court.
And you're forgetting another name, Lawrence.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You forget him running, at the guard position where, what's fortunate about Rink is that he was a point big man. I can't even say forward because he was our big man. And offense ran through him. And just to have that back and the leadership, and he had a chance to sit and observe for a whole year. And after playing and then observing, because he was very, very good the year that he did play, and then having to sit out and observe. So his hunger at this point is, I can only imagine how he's just toes are tapping. He can't wait to get there on the court. But it starts right now. And I see a lot of video of the guys' workouts and playing and things of that sort, and you can just tell his excitement of just being back out on the floor, and not only with the floor, but getting acquainted with some of the new players. Because a lot of these players he didn't get opportunity to play with. So right now is the getting to know each other's stage. I've been seeing a lot of good things, not hearing, like the kid Garcia. I've been hearing, it looks like our big power forward.
Yeah, he's put together, isn't he?
Yes, and we've been, the heir apparent to Gary. So it's nice to see that, and I'm hearing great things about the red shirts, like the kid from Southwest, the lefty. I heard he's shooting the ball well. Sam's going to be Sam. And like I said, DeMarcus Lawrence coming back, who got a year away from us, and then coming back already knowing the system and the culture. You got you got Burke coming back, who's got an opportunity to see. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out with Burke and Ray.
I think if Burke, that will be the key to me is if the jump that he takes. Because
yes,
I think you know what you're getting. For the most part from our returners, and then obviously you can watch enough game film on some of these transfers but that you're getting. But I think a lot was said about Burke and the potential, and then also the speed of the American game, and then also getting into quote unquote American basketball shape. And
yes,
I think the jump he makes will be very, very instrumental on how this season goes.
And then staying healthy too. I still say if he didn't go down with that ankle injury at the end of that, was it the Iowa game or the game we won? I think when he went down.
I think it was. Was it? I thought it was Michigan. I'm pretty sure I was at that Michigan game, and that's when he got hurt. I could be wrong. But
it was the game that I thought we won. I think we won this game, and Ohio State maybe.
I thought it was Ohio. I was going to say Ohio State.
Yeah, I think when he went down, right. And just to get him in with a full season. And I mean, we gotta, when you say depth, and I know we've been saying this for the last couple of years.
I know they're getting tired of hearing us say that, aren't they?
Yes.
We're gonna prove them right.
Yeah, we're gonna prove it right. And then we haven't even mentioned Quentin Rhymes, the freshman who's and I haven't, I can't
That's your guy.
Yes, I can't wait to see how he's competing with these upperclassmen, and he's a 4-star, and he was my heir apparent to Bryce Williams, similar type of mentality and type of game. He can play at all 3 levels and very athletic, and he lets his game speak for itself. So I'm pretty excited, and and just getting the opportunity. I can't wait to get there and I'll let you know when I'm coming to you so I can take you to practice with me.
Please do. Look forward to it.
Because, we got to see it up and close and personal, because it's hard for me to speak on these players that I haven't seen and just see how they gel. And so I
have to make sure old Chubbuck, it comes down at the same time too. That
was
to meet up with him last year.
Yeah, we got to get him now before school starts. So I have to let him know when I'm coming down there and getting down here to watch some of that practice and chop it up with him. Hey, but I know we're getting close to time, but y'all got to tell me y'all heard this now, and I'm changing the topic on you. Were y'all watching the Open on Friday? I think it was Friday this occurred. So I'm in Michigan, and we're watching, and I think it was in the morning. Sometime I forgot what hole it was and who was getting ready to either putt or no. I think they were getting an approach shot, and one of the commentators threw out the F-bomb inadvertently. We rewinded it to hear it. It hasn't been on social media or anything.
I did not hear it. No.
Nobody caught that.
Well, Chase looks like he knows what you're talking about here.
I might have heard something about it. I knew that they were trying to. I don't remember like hearing it, but I remember them trying to cover up something and just talk about something random on the shot when it happened. But I think that's what you're talking about.
Yes. No, we rewinded it. He said it.
He did?
Yes. Yes. But when he said it, I said, where were you looking at? I mean, I don't even know why he even said it, because it had nothing to do, because they were just talking about the next shot. Yeah. And all of a sudden and then one of our buddies was sitting there and said, did y'all hear that? And we said, hear what? We didn't hear it at first. We rewinded it and blatantly. And still this day, I hope that guy still has a job, because it was
Lee Corso still had a job, because I can remember sitting on the couch with Xavier during college kickoff when it was Carl Lewis, and when he did that, and I looked at Xavier and I said, and not a word was said, and I said, I think so, and Xavier didn't even ask me a question, and of course that's when Lee Corso came back on and apologized 5 minutes later. So I don't know, maybe they are just trying to cover this up, but
but no big deal. But I almost told them to. I started to write the player that was approach shot, and that's that right there. And but it was just one of those things, like, golly, we just assumed that it was going to blow up on social media, but it didn't. And so that's what
you got to be on a kiss cam for that to happen.
Oh my! Don't get me started. hey, speaking of, speaking of,
I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going.
No, not that, but. No, I'm there. We went to a street dance down there, and we were standing by where the mayor had reserved some his little area, and the guys that I'm with are regulars at this place, and they had a little street party band. You know, do you remember the old July jams and back in the day?
Oh yeah,
Lincoln was really
Rib
getting
Fest.
done during the summer, Rib Fest and stuff. So we're standing there. So of course, I'm repping my Husker gear. So the mayor,
you don't leave the house without it, T.
I know it. So the mayor sees me, said, "Oh, Nebraska." He said, "Check this out. I was talking to the Lincoln mayor on the way here. Now, this mayor has been a mayor there for 20 years. He's not even eligible to even be. He's not even eligible to put his own name in. He's so good as a mayor that they write him in and vote him in every year now. He's been a mayor there for 20 years, but he was I don't even know who our mayor is. I don't live in Lincoln anymore. So when he said it, I think he assumed that I lived in Lincoln. And he was like, I just talked to your mayor on the way here, and blah, blah. I'm like, really? I'm thinking myself, I wonder who the mayor is. but I don't live there anymore. I left there in 2006. But it was just interesting that how respected Nebraska is, the brand. And for a mayor to be talking to our Lincoln mayor, or y'all's Lincoln mayor, I still consider Lincoln home too. So,
you still have your 402 phone number. I know that.
Oh, it's not going anywhere. I don't know why people change. I was giving somebody a hard time. You know, I probably had like Ty Lue's like 6 of his numbers. It's like some people just change their. I don't know if they give it to the wrong person or whatever, but they change it so many times where I just give up even trying to get the numbers from folks. If you're changing that much, man, you don't want to be connected with a lot of people. Only people you want to connect with. But I know I can get the number if I want. But I just say I'm going to stick to this number no matter what. And it's 402. I spent 20 years there, more years there than I did in my hometown. I left home at 18, spent 20 in Lincoln. So let's do the math.
All right, T. I think we'll just keep you on, and we'll probably just we'll have an extra long commercial set because I know people love that at the end of the game. While we've got you, I wanted to talk a little bit about, and I think you're probably going to have to go back and watch this. I know that for the fans that this is a done topic, but in sports show it's not really. Matt Rule was asked yesterday about some of the comments that Scott Frost had made. And I know that obviously, that you're well versed at that.
Yeah.
And he did a great job, I think, of getting some closure. But I wasn't able to tune in. I don't know if you guys talked about it last week or not, but I wanted your take as alum on certain do's and don'ts, and because we look at someone like Bill Callahan. Bill Callahan doesn't even mention the name Nebraska. He doesn't. Maybe he didn't enjoy his time here. It's hard to say. He doesn't talk about it. When you leave here, is it like the old mama's tale? If you don't have anything nice to say, then you don't say anything at all.
Well, first of all,
there's a certain code of things you do and don't as an alum.
Well, number one, Bill Callahan, I hope he never mentions us. I don't think we mention him very much. But anyway, let's move on. But no, from a alumni perspective, I always look at Nebraska, what they've done for me. I was able to play basketball at the highest level. I was able to get my accounting degree, got a college degree. And not only that, Keith Zimmer, the academic office, was able to steer myself along with Derek Vick, Lorenzo Hicks, William Washington, and others to State Farm to get a job, a career, start a career. So from that perspective, I would never, from an alumni perspective, have anything negative to say about our program. Now, in behind closed doors, we may have a different conversation around, I think Daddy needs to let me get more shots up, or something like that. And just, and I brought this up to Steve at the airport the other day, and because I saw two perspectives. One perspective, it almost sounded like I was trying to defend him, like, maybe he wasn't trying to say what we all interpreted him to say, where it was not the right decision. And I kind of first took that as not the right decision to go back home with all that pressure, leaving this program undefeated. I was trying to justify it for him. And then when I look at it too, when I look at the video and read the comments and what have you, it gives you, from an alumni perspective, not only you were our last champion at quarterback, you get the opportunity to come coach a program that you won a national championship with. You've been successful at other stops. You just took the team to an undefeated season, and there was a lot of high hopes from Scott. And unfortunately, it didn't work out the way Scott and the fans intended things to go. And so I'll be honest with you, I was a little disappointed in the comments. And I don't know it's hard for me to speak on what Scott was thinking when he made those comments and how he truly feels. And I didn't hang out with Scott's a lot. I know him. I played a little basketball with him at Devaney, and him, and I know Matt Davison played basketball and football, and I always run to him from time to time. And so I don't have any ill will for Scott or I can't even, Matt's not part of this conversation, but they were always together. But I was disappointed from an alumni that I think he could have handled that better, because Nebraska paid you well. You came back from Stanford and started at quarterback, won a national championship, and to make the comments the way he did, and maybe I'll only listen to the cliff notes of the comments, but what I heard was that he basically said he made the wrong decision coming back to Nebraska. So that's kind of where I'm at. I know I'm dancing around how I really feel, but I that would be behind closed doors, and I can tell you how I really feel. But from a radio perspective, unless you know what's on that guy's mind, it's hard to be too much of a critic, because you don't know how he's feeling. But and how we don't know how he's being treated with the program. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, T, it is always a pleasure, and I love when I get to come in on a Wednesday and obviously reconnect with you. Sounds like we will definitely plan on maybe getting down there for some Husker hoops.
I'll give you a text and let you know I'm heading.
Sounds great.
We'll go down there.
That is Husker basketball legend Henry T. Buchanan. Tomorrow, I think Bill Hooks is still out of town. Who knows? Maybe I might show up again. Chase, YZ, ZY, some letters at the end of the alphabet. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, should we rock a promo? Oh, I could probably end the
That's
stream
the part
real
where you
quick.
say, yeah, my dad used to watch him.
Bye, everybody.